It defies the mind how the depths of peace, how within the silence and stillness there can be such an enormous eruption of joy and aliveness. They seem, based on the perceptive habits of mind, to be impossible to be playing at the very same time. How there can be such a depth of peace, and at the same time there can be the flavor of this erupting joy. Yet it is the nature of the heart. And the thing about the nature of the heart is that it is independent of everything that appears to be changing. Thus, the mind-body can be in great distress. And it has absolutely no impact on this joy, on this aliveness, on this beauty of this love that is the nature of your very existence. The conditioned habit is this built-in self-referencing mechanism that always comes back to this reference point. And the sense of well-being for most is completely dependent on the ebb and flow of the perceptive experience of what has been conditioned to be me. But the nature of the heart is defined by nothing. It is not boxed by any point of reference. When you feel the heart, you feel what is everywhere. It is nowhere to the mind. The mind cannot find it. The mind is in the arena of subject-object dynamics. It can only recognize objects. But the feeling of the heart is not in the arena of subject-object. It is not in the arena of distance. It is not in the arena of time. It is in the arena of reality. It is the feeling that always is, and it always is now. It is the feeling that is at no distance, for there is no such thing as distance in the heart. It is the depths of wholeness and peace. And yet there is this wild aliveness. This joy that is not a because of, but the nature of the heart itself. The conditioned egoic mind cannot approach it because the conditioned egoic mind is the habit of distraction from it. You cannot find it because you are it. It is not an it is not an object. It is the feeling of the heart. It is the feeling of yourself. How can there be approaching what is not in the arena of distance? But the nature of your very existence itself. What is locationless, but felt with the heart. Living within yourself. Living within the force that gave birth to the universe. Living within the love that unifies everything that once appeared to be separate. Love is not in a location. Joy is not in a location. What is not away from is not in location. What is not away from is yourself. And the nature is this pure happiness. Perhaps you can feel the nature of this pure happiness that always is. Not a doing, not a changing, but being. not in some imagined future or some imagined past, but as eternity itself, which is always now. When you truly realize the nature of the heart, it is the end of experiencing that I am moving and changing location. Because the heart is always here. What is here is always here. What is here is everywhere. There is a simple shift of identity from something conditioned to the pure, unalloyed joy of your heart. So if you would like to chat or connect, you're welcome to raise your hand and can take the seat in front of mine. How are you? Good. I'm glad that was so funny. Everything just feels really light drenched and I feel like at no distance. I wouldn't define it as joy, but that's just me. It feels like energy is really bright. Bright with misery? No. I mean, there's a part of my body that feels like really tender and what is your body's relationship with the light that is at no distance? It's part of it. Let yourself feel, fully feel, the light that is at no distance. Just let yourself fully feel it. This feeling has no history. There's nothing prior to this feeling. As soon as there is relationship with prior, the taste is two things playing at the same time that are not playing, that are not crossing paths. It is experienced that way because the attention is flipping back and forth from the story of me to the feeling of what is at no distance, What is at no distance is not in time. In the feeling of what is at no distance and not of time, is there a tender body?
No.
How would you describe the feeling of the light that is at no distance?
I don't know. I mean, it's just a frequency, energy.
Would you say it is neutral?
Kind of, yeah.
Wrong.
Oh. Shit. It doesn't feel, I mean, sometimes I know what you mean. It feels really, sometimes it feels really ecstatic.
Yes,
same.
But there's no such thing as sometimes. This is all coming out because there is an oscillation of attention, it is a vibration, so that there is the experience of two things. One is experienced as tender as me, living in time, that dampens everything. The other is the grace of what is beginning to root itself in the life because of something that is really pure within you. In reality, when you are really with all of this, what is discovered is they do not intersect, they appear to intersect. The body appears as soon as the attention goes to a point of reference, built on a story of someone, built out of a past, out of which this light that is eternally present now. This has no past, is not of time. There is no before or after. That is the habit of distraction. You exist now. You always exist now. It is always now. The feeling of what is now is not at a distance. What is not of time is not of distance. The habit is the habit of distraction into the experience of time. Would you say that this light feels really alive? Okay, we'll leave it just at that then.
Cool. Part of, I feel, maybe this is the two things playing at the same time, but what feels at no distance is the light of everything, that feels like everything is the same, the curtains, your face, it's all the same. And so it's not separate from my body, and that sensation, which is tender, even I could recognize the interpretation is happening as a habit of what the tenderness is.
Yes, but sweetie pie, I completely understand what you were saying. But what are the curtains? What is the wall? What is the body without relationship with memory? If you are not falling into memory, which is where knowledge arises from, and knowledge and ignorance are exactly the same. If you wipe the slate clean of knowledge which exists in the mind, which creates the overlay, purely living in reality, What are the curtains?
You got me beat. They're light. They're the same.
It is not to say that there is not divine manifestation. It is grace. It is the grace that brings forth the celebration of self meeting itself, which is the creation of such incredible love, such happiness. But when you are really immersed in reality, which is stripped of conditioned content, then what is felt is the sameness in everything that appears to be different. Yet the appearance of the difference, the appearance of the difference it's like a symphony. It is all one incredible piece of music if it is a beautiful symphonic piece. You feel the whole piece of music. The players are not separated out. They are part of a masterpiece. And yet there are all of these flavors that work in perfect harmony, that arise out of the one source. This is the play of Shakti, bringing forth this appearance which is self-luminous and ecstatic. It is not a denial of anything. I could say, and it would be honest, that the sense perceptions in what is called this body, I would not say they are tender. I would say they are constantly dealing with enormous challenge. But it's just a dream. Its role is that it absorbs the suffering that arises out of the illusion of being separate. So there is this incredible, exquisite beauty. But phenomena only affects phenomena. The nature of your being is completely free. What impact do the curtains have on eternity? What impact does my body have on eternity? Your nature is eternal. Something knows. If my body defined me, your nature would be temporary in time, governed by circumstance, controlled by karma. It is to feel yourself, which is more available now because of this interaction. It is being felt more fully. The feeling that is being felt more fully. Is it limited by time? Is it limited by anything? No. Living in the unknown, which is what the conditioned mind is trying to do. But it's a contradiction in terms. The mind is the known, but nothing of truth can be known because the mind is the habit that pulls you away from now, which is reality. Now is in the absence of following the mind, so it is called the unknown, meaning absence of mind. When you live in reality, you live in the unknown. When you live in the unknown, you know nothing. Words may come forth that make it sound like you know something, but you are not involved with that. You are living in yourself. And you then taste this joy and this beauty and this love that has always been your nature, that the habit of distraction has pulled you from. And now most often there is the experience of two things happening at the same time. It is grace because there is a connection with this beauty that is unchanging now. But it is only part of the journey. What is called my body, when there is direct investigation, it disappears. Anything that is my, when you look for the my directly in the moment, it disappears. One is appearance. It appears in time. It is so aggressively conditioned. It creates the experience of someone that upon direct investigation disappears. The other is the nature of your heart, yourself. What is eternally now? What is unbounded and always has been? There is such an ingrained habit in every mind to constantly refer back to the point of reference with a story and visceral sensations that say me. It is only a habit. Who are you when referencing back to the point of reference with a story of me and how I'm doing? When that is not active, then who are you? When you do not know who you are, you realize who you are. The thing about realization is that it is not an experience, so it cannot be spoken about. It can only be realized. But it is not only realized, it is everything. When you realize who you are, because you let go of the false notion of what has been conditioned, just a conglomeration of beliefs. But when you realize who you are, what happens to time? What happens to the point of reference? Just to feel what does not disappear. Just to feel what is not away from you. What is always alive. Thank you all for satsang.